A lot of the content on my channel, some of the highest viewed content, has to do with my Mossberg Shockwave, or my Mossberg shotgun specifically. If you haven't seen by now, I'm a really big fan of shotguns. When I started shooting, I never really got into 22 like a lot of other people do. My first opportunity was to shoot shotgun. I started shooting a 20 gauge, and then once I got 12 gauge, I found it was a lot more common, so I got a 12 gauge and went from there. And I still don't own a 22 caliber firearm. So I've been in firearms for a while, and yeah, so that's where I am. Shotguns are kind of my thing. I like how dynamic they are, and they're also really good at a variety of things. You can hunt with them, you can shoot birds, you can do trap and skeet, you can shoot deer, and they're also great as anti-personnel firearms. So shotguns are absolutely devastating inside of kind of home defense ranges, so inside of 15 yards or so. And if you think about 15 yards, 10 yards is 30 feet, 15 yards is 45 feet. If you measure corner to corner on any given room in your house, you're probably not going to get 45 feet. Maybe you might get it, but it's absolutely devastating in that. So generally, shotguns, every shotgun and every piece of ammo patterns a little differently, but shotguns tend to expand the shot 1 inch per yard, thereabouts. That's kind of the benchmark that you can go. Some are more, some are less, but that's kind of the benchmark. So 15 yards is a 15-inch circle at that distance. So that's the better part of kind of this area that you're looking at right now on the table. In like the size of a doorway. So that's actually pretty devastating. Unfortunately, though, in 2020, it's actually pretty hard to find decent shotgun ammo. So let's talk about that. What is decent shotgun ammo? And the purpose of this is for personal protection. This is for anti-personnel, anti-human stuff. Because we want to keep safe and we want to have a shotgun kind of to defend ourselves and our home. Well, there's 4 different loads on the table right now. The most exciting one is this S&B number 4 Buckshot that you can see kind of transparent kind of through here what's going on. And this is going to be a brief overview of kind of what's in a shotgun shell. I'm not going to go too far in depth on it. There's a lot of other videos that do that, but I'm also going to show kind of what you can do in 2020 if you can only find Birdshot. So, what is shotgun ammo? Generally, a shotgun shell has the brass in the back. This is what has the primer in it, and the primer gets hit with a firing pin that explodes. There's gunpowder kind of in this back area, and then that pushes the centerpiece called the wad that way. As that gets pushed out, this little buffer, this padding thing, helps push this cluster of shot, this is buckshot, out of the front of the gun, down the barrel, and then as it exits the barrel, it's going to expand because all the little shot are slightly differently shaped. The ones on the outside get kind of scraped and flattened as they get pushed down the barrel, and they kind of spread apart from each other, and eventually will lose energy and fall to the ground, but kind of inside of effective range, so inside of like 50 yards or 100 yards, they can still do significant damage. It's actually devastating to fleshy targets, and you can see videos of that. Unfortunately, I don't have any videos of me shooting these at targets, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. So this number 4 Buckshot is kind of middle of the road as far as shot size. The back of this is the case it came in. The back of this case, I was actually looking for like a cool graphic, has a really cool graphic on it. And number 4 Buckshot is right here. So you can see the size, number 4, right in the middle of the Buckshot realm. Double-aught buck, which is probably the most common buckshot, is right here. This is a 33 caliber ball. And then the stuff over here that you can find more readily, this is Birdshot. This is right here, so it's the second smallest. Number 9 is the smallest that you can find. And this is 90 thousandths diameter balls. I'll show you those in a second. So, yeah, that's what we got. I'm not going to cut this one open, this number 4 Buckshot, but this is a pretty low end but kind of good load. Pretty much that the heavier the ball, when it hits something, the more it will penetrate. If you have something like a slug, which is the upper end of heavy, this is a single chunk of lead, 1 ounce chunk of lead, that's 70 something or 69 caliber, 70 caliber, going down the barrel. This has a lot of mass, and kind of like throwing a baseball versus a bowling ball, the thing with large mass, even if it's going pretty slow, is going to do some damage when it hits. Inside of here, this is a 3-inch double-aught buck, so 2 3/4 versus 3. That's the size of the uncrimped shell. So there's a crimp on the top of here. When that opens up, that'll be 3 inches, or actually not greater than 3 inches. Generally, you want to go for 2 3/4 if you can find it. If you can only find 3, go for 3. But this is going to recoil more than the number 4. Than the shorter one generally. Then we have Birdshot. Now you can tell this is Birdshot by a couple of things. I'm going to put this next to the slug so you can see the Birdshot has less metal on the bottom, so less brass. This is called high brass. This is called low brass. Low brass generally has less powder in it. That's good in that it recoils lightly, but Birdshot is not really effective against people. Ask the guy Dick Cheney shot in the face many years back. Shot in the face, and he was incapacitated, but he lived. Especially if you got a glancing shot or something like that, it might not be effective. Birdshot is definitely lethal. Don't mistake what I'm saying for that. It is still absolutely lethal, but definitely not as devastating as double-aught buck or a slug. Like I said, the slug is just a big piece of lead. I'm not going to open that up, but I am going to open the double-aught buck and the Birdshot. Let's start with the Birdshot. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor, and I'm going to cut this little ridge right here. I don't recommend doing this. There's not really a reason to do this ever. And once you do it, you probably shouldn't be loading it back up. But we're just going to see kind of what's going on. So I'm just going to cut through this little top of the crimp, this little roll. You're going to watch me slice my thumb, but that's okay. And this can be a first aid video. And we're going to take this little cap off, and you can see all these little lead pieces of shot inside of here. Let's see how many there are. There. So, I'll pull that little piece off. So now we have this empty cup. Or I can even pull the shot cup out. So you have this little shot cup, which holds all the little shot. Inside there's a little pressure compression waddy thing. This is similar to the little foam plug. And then below there is powder and the little primer. I'm going to put the shot cup back in place carefully because I am going to reuse this. And then we have all of this shot right here. So you can see it's just a lot of little BBs. And again, this is number 8. We'll put this all kind of to one side. And I believe, if I have the box around here, this is 1 1/8 ounce. Does it say on here? Yeah, it says 1 1/8 ounce right here. 1 1/8 ounce of number 8 Birdshot. Let's open up the Buckshot and see what's there. Now this is a 3-inch shell, so there's going to be more. Generally, Buckshot, the 2 3/4, has 8 or 9 pellets in it. This will probably be 12, but let's find out. here. So the Buckshot has this plasticky junk, and that's just insulation. And then, oh, those are plated. Cool. I didn't know they were plated. Then inside of here is apparently plated Buckshot. So you can see the size difference. One of those versus one of those right there. So that's the size difference. And these are plated. These have simple plating on them to make the outside a little harder so they don't deform as much, and they tend to hold a tighter pattern. That's kind of cool. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow! 15! I shouldn't have cut this open. I only have 2 of these lying around still. But anyway, so this is what you get in your, I guess, a really cool Double-Aught Buck 3-inch Magnum shell. If you can find this in a store, this will absolutely work. This is devastating. If you can't find it in a store, you're going to have to get the Birdshot. You can either just load up your gun with Birdshot and hope for the best, which is not something I'm a fan of. And there's one other thing you can do, and I'm not going to show you how to do this because I think that's against YouTube's policies. But you can take that shot, mix it with wax. This is beeswax in here. And then very carefully pour the molten wax and the Birdshot slurry back into this thing, and you get something called a waxer slug. So this is a, let me get this in focus a little better. There. So this is a cluster of Birdshot that is held together by wax. It's a little heavier, and definitely not as reliable as something that's all crimped up, but this is still effective. It's more effective than just the Birdshot because it holds it all together. Downside with this is if this plug of wax kind of falls out, it can jam up your shotgun, and it's not good, but also it can cause, on the positive side, some really massive damage. So it's not any more effective than like Double-Aught Buck or a slug or anything, but what it does do is it keeps the Birdshot in place until it actually hits something of significant resistance, and then it'll force itself open inside of that. So you can see videos. If you look up wax slug on YouTube, you'll find some videos of how to do this and kind of what it looks like when it hits things compared to Birdshot or Buckshot. Anyway, I hope you guys have better luck finding ammo than I am. I have a little extra ammo to spare because I just like having ammo around and not having to go to the store right before I go to the range. But keep yourself safe out there, and I hope this information is useful for you, and filling knowledge and just kind of itching some curiosities. But I honestly hope that we don't have to use any of this kind of stuff in the future. So this is a knowledge that again, I just hope we never have to use. Anyway, stay safe out there, everyone. See ya.